What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today. Today is a very exciting day. It's been about, I want to say 5 months now since the last track we got from Mr. Endo Creations, and he's back with what looks to be another banger. Now, my sleep schedule at the moment, a little bit messed up, not going to lie. I seem to be going to bed at about 5, 6 a.m. and waking up maybe 2, 3 p.m.-ish. It's more of like an American schedule at this point, to be honest. But the good thing about that is by the time I've woken up, most of the messages that I would have got throughout the day have already been sent to me by people that have woken up early. So I checked my phone this morning and I get to see this amazing message that you see on screen right now from one of my very valued mods, Mr. Sorry, informing me that Endo has released a new track. Now, this is the SBN compound, which is Saucy By Nature, which is a team ran by Lil Mitch, and it consists of 2 nationals tracks and a few little free ride / freestyle jumps around the outside. Endo is someone who I have a lot of respect for. You know, if you've only been around the game within the last year or so, you might not have heard too much about him. But this track release right here, I think marks his 20th track. Now, I think the number's a little bit higher than that, but some of the tracks he's released are compounds, so kind of consists of 2, 3, 4 tracks maybe. But the sake of keeping account, even still, 20 tracks is just an insane amount. This man must have dedicated at least a solid 6 months of real life time just in building tracks for us for this community. So I'm very excited to get into it. I always have a lot of fun riding his tracks as they are focused a lot more on the fun side than the realistic side of things. So let's get into it. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. I think the RM450 is going to be the bike of choice today. I just really fancy listening to that rev limiter. It's by far my favourite rev limiter in the game overall. And in case you're wondering, jumper for the first time. Good excuse actually. I'm very on brand. Good excuse to wear some more FXR merch. But unfortunately, winter is in full force now.
Because it's cold outside, man. But I know that it's cold outside.
In the UK, it is absolutely freezing today. It's gross. And a bit of an L moment by me, but I moved my room around recently just to accommodate this whole like face cam setup more. Before, my desk was against this wall at the back. What you can't see off camera that way is just a shit ton of mess and boxes and my unmade beds and things of that nature, which wouldn't have looked too pretty on the camera. So that's why I moved things around a little bit. However, in doing so, I've put my computer and all the wiring behind the desk, which is against the back wall here, against the radiator in my room. So I don't want to turn that radiator on and risk just ruining all the wires and getting my computer extremely hot for no reason. So it's very cold in my room, so the jumper has been put on. But I think it's kind of going to be the end of the riding for me, to be honest, for this year. I mean, I've only ridden a handful of times anyway, but I always get the question about when am I going riding IRL next. I am a very fair weather rider, so whenever I do go, it tends to be in good conditions. I don't have much of a desire to go and get cold and muddy and wet in a field anymore. In my ripe old age of almost 28 now. I think that comes in about January time. So yeah, no more real life riding for me for the rest of this year. However, I am definitely considering going and getting another GoPro and or Insta 360 cam. I've seen a lot of people recommending the 360. So if you actually have experience with both of those, please do let me know which one you prefer overall and the pros and cons of both. Because, I mean, riding cameras, action cameras in general, they're not cheap by any means, so I want to make sure that I am getting the right product. And I quite liked the quality that I got out of the GoPro, but it's just the, I guess, reliability of it that's a little bit poor. It seems to be the case that a lot of people's tend to break fairly quickly and they all have battery problems. I have no idea why mine stopped working. It was absolutely fine one time. I put it away for a good couple of months, went to get it out again, and it just would never turn on.
Computer says no.
It doesn't even boot up if I take the battery out and charge it directly from the power that way, so it should hold at least some charge by itself without the full battery. It doesn't matter what wire I use, what outlet I use, it's the same result all the time. And for the life of me, I can't find the emails and things like that I used to purchase it in the first place, so I can't even get the warranty to get it replaced, which kind of sucks, because yeah, they're not cheap. They're a good they're multiple hundreds of pounds at this point, so it is a big old shame. Some people have suggested that they'd send me cameras that they have spare, even when I've made comments about like VR and stuff like that, and people have headsets they don't use anymore, and I really do appreciate it. Like, the generosity is nuts, so thank you very much for that. However, I don't have a PO box, at least not yet anyway, and I really don't feel comfortable giving my actual address out, so I hope you understand that. But yeah, maybe in the future we'll look at getting a PO box set up. Who knows? I just don't want to be opening gifts and it turns out people are sending me like lumps of.
Why are you sending me poo?
Yes, that seems to be a common thing that people do for YouTubers at the moment. So this track, I'm not sure how long it's been in the works for, or if he's been working on it on or off. But the last track we saw released, I believe, was Diablo County from Endo, which was a massive, I'd say compound. It's more of an area rather than a private thing, just like a massive open, I guess, county, as you'd say, which had National, Supercross, Enduro, Freeride, had everything on there. Like, it was a massive area, so definitely recommend checking that out. Although that one is on the store, whereas this track we're playing today is completely free. This place consists of 2 tracks, just 2 national tracks and a bunch of freeride stuff around the outside. Endo, he always does throw a bunch of freeride jumps around his tracks, which I don't think I ever give enough love or attention to just because of how bad I am at it, and it's not something that interests me and trying to get better at. I'm not a free ride guy by any means. I just prefer trying to burn laps of tracks and hitting corners as fast as I can without completely washing the bike out. He has emphasised on the post that this track is built for fun. You know, it's not meant to be super realistic. None of his tracks ever really have been. He's always focused on just the fun aspect of the game. And a little backstory on Endo is around, I can't even give you an exact time, maybe even like September time-ish of 2022, so just over a year ago now, he released a pack on MXB Mods, which was 4 tracks that were catered towards the OEM 125s at the time. And he stated then that it was going to be his last track release ever. He didn't like the direction that the game was going in. I think it was a mixture of things. It's the way that the game's heal physics worked at the time, so it really limited the creativity that track creators could have. It was also how the community was kind of behaving at the time. For some reason, a lot of people will just hate on the free content that they get given. You know, they just dislike tracks for the sake of it, even when they're just being given stuff for free. There's also some personal stuff going on there, which is not my job to talk about, so I'm not going to elaborate on it at all. But I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see him doing well. He's someone that I personally get along with quite well. Never spoken to him in person. We've had messages through chats, and he joins in the live streams now and then. He was in my 2022 Supercross season live streams quite often too. So yeah, I've got a warm place in my heart for old Endo, so I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad he's... I don't know if he's back as in his back, or if this is a case of, here's a track, now going to take another 6 months or a year off. But either way, I'm glad that he's still got a little bit of love for the game in his heart, and he's still creating stuff for us to play on. And it's not taken for granted, at least not by me anyway. I really do appreciate it. I have to say, I'm not too involved in everything MX Bikes related in terms of community and player bases these days. I have heard of Little Mitch, however. I know who he is. I think I've seen his face at some point in pictures around Discord. Looks like a very nice, friendly guy. But however, I have to say, quite enjoy the team name. I'm not going to lie. There's something about Saucy By Nature that just rolls off the tongue and just makes you think of people getting absolutely steezy all over the place. So I try my very best to replicate that on this track. I just need to try and get, I think, some of the lines down, some of the jumps down, because there's some jump sections here that where the jumps are blind, you really do have to kind of get them ingrained in your memory on how far you have to send things. Like this, I think I have to send further than I have been. There you go, perfect. Messing around like this and just playing these more fun kind of arcadey type tracks, they really do lend themselves well to the factory bikes, and it's just so nice being able to hop on a track and just throw a bike around and put it wherever you want it, which is kind of what I'm about these days. I don't like grinding the game anymore. I like just having fun with it. I mean, the only time I really do play lately is either for videos and showing tracks off like this for you guys, or just hopping on with the boys and messing around with the boys and taking each other out. Outside of that, it tends to just be for the official races that I'll actually try a bit and take things seriously. And I feel like that's put me in quite a good place in terms of my enjoyment of the game. I really do just enjoy hopping on and playing it now. And it's only when like you'd see in previous live streams, like trying to learn the OEM bikes as well for the upcoming like Nations event, because I do want to do well at that. I'd love to qualify. If not, it's not the end of the world. If not, it would just be a shame that I don't get to cover that. More so from a content perspective. I guess it's kind of a selfish or greedy way of looking at it, but it really would be good content for the channel, being able to cover the races from my my perspective, as I believe they've already got commentators sorted for it, so I don't think I'd be able to do it from that point of view unless I done like a watch along, maybe, if I got the streamers permission to like watch their stream and stream it myself and react to it. I have no idea. I'll try not to be biased. Of course, I'm going to have a special place in my heart for Team Great Britain. However, I kind of do feel like the US will be the ones to beat. Although we are red plate holders, like we won last year, we are missing a massive rider in Hurls. He doesn't play the game anymore, which is going to be a big loss for us. And the US have a lot of fast riders. Like Skills won everything this year championship wise. We've got Jackson, who's up and coming, getting really fast. They've got Rax on there. He's always a really good solid top 3 contender in every race that he goes for. For 250 wise, I believe they've got Keegan. I think Casanova is now doing open class rather than 250s, but again, another very fast rider. I watched his own A-lap that he done on the OEM KTM. Disgustingly quick, like literally 4 seconds quicker than anything I can run, and my brain just doesn't understand how. So they are a force to be reckoned with. So I think it's basically the US's race to lose, I would say. And one thing that's a bit interesting this year is, because everyone knows what track it's going to be on the French track Ernée, same as the real life one. We already have Ernée in the game. Now, I do believe that another variation of it will be made for the GP. However, I think it's going to be quite minimal changes. You know, the track layout is identical, so the only difference really would be, I guess, braking bumps and ruts. It's up to JV's discretion. I believe he's the one that's going to be making the changes or updating the track, which kind of puts it in a weird place, because it's going to be one of them events where if you have the time and you have the dedication for it, you can probably grind the Ernée that we've got out right now, and it will probably be a big help when it comes race day. So we'll see how that unfolds. We really will. I think it'll be a very interesting event this year, and I'd say it's probably one of the bigger Nations events that we've had. From my perspective at least, whenever I've tried qualifying for the Great Britain team before, there's only been like a handful of guys really that you think, yeah, these are fast boys. So there's not been too much competition on the qualifying side of things. But this year there's everyone. I think there's like 9 people in total that have been selected to try and qualify for Great Britain. Everyone's so quick. Like it's absolutely nuts. It's crazy. And I think that speaks volume on where this game is as a whole. Something about holes.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
It speaks volumes on where the game is right now, because I definitely think it's in that like transitional phase from being just super casual and just getting more and more competitive. I haven't checked the Steam charts for a while actually, so I'm not sure on how the game's doing in terms of population wise. But one thing I do think this game does still do quite well is there's always populated online servers, so if you are just looking for a casual bit of fun, it's always there for you. But I do think that the game is getting more and more competitive, and there's just so many new people coming out of the woodwork that are just able to set absolute burner lap times. It does mean, however, that year on year your boy is going to be placed in worse and worse positions, and I'm still holding on for dear life for them glory days of 2022 Supercross when all was going well for me. I really am. And in my OEM testing the other night, actually, I was really praying that I liked the Husky, because I wish the Husky has a special place in my heart, because that was my weapon of choice for 2022 when I had that good Supercross season. Unfortunately, not a big fan of it in this OEM pack. It just rides a little bit weird. It just feels like it doesn't get much traction at all compared to the other bikes, which I'm sure can all be fixed with setup. But you know, I've said it time and time again. When it comes to setup, I have a massive
Skill issue.
I am going to take the fact that I am just running lap after lap after lap here without crashing as a very good sign, because the track doesn't feel like super duper easy. There's sections like that where the shadows are actually quite distracting, where I can't really see where the bumps and the ruts are, so you're kind of going in blind into a couple of corners. But one thing that Endo does well, that he does on a lot of his tracks too, is adding split sections into a lot of different parts of the track. Even on these national tracks where you wouldn't really usually see too many split sections, they're in most of the straights, and I think that does play perfectly with the fun aspect that he's trying to achieve. Rather than there just being one fast way around, if you kind of experiment and move from side to side and try the different sections out, you might find a completely different rhythm one lap to the other, which I'm here for. It definitely adds a bit of, I guess, longevity to the tracks, keeps you playing them for even longer. And it wouldn't be an Endo track as well if we didn't have the hot air balloons in the air. They are a staple of Endo's tracks at this point, so you love to see it all the time. And I say time and time again, a lot of the time when you load up a track, based on how it looks, based on the environment, based on how the terrain feels to ride, a lot of the time you can tell who has created it, which I love. It just adds that level of personality. Other than there's a massive Endo Creations banner on the track. If that wasn't there and you handed this to me, I'd probably still say Endo's name and point to him being the track creator. I'm looking over at my recording here. I've been recording for 14 minutes already, and we've still got another track to go. So without trying to spend too much time on this one, let's move over to the other one. Still waiting for the day, by the way, that Peboso lets us have universal bike setups rather than having to copy and paste it from one track to another all the time. That would be really nice. Just a nice little quality of life thing for us. So this is track number 2. It's just called... Oh! Do you see it? I see it. Thank you very much, Endo. Love the recognition. I appreciate that. Imagine just looking to the left at a chance and seeing something that far away. Absolutely love to see the Lynn's representation on the tracks. I really, really do. So let's have a little rip around this bad boy and see what's what. In my flyover at the beginning, the texture looks a little bit different, so I think there's a lot of sand involved in this one, and I can hear it under my wheels. It is indeed sand. Now, we are running spec tyres on this factory bike, which really means sand isn't much of an issue anymore. There was a period of time, especially like beta 17 era on this game, where sand tracks were basically unplayable. Like, it was so bad. The level of traction was basically non-existent, even on soft soil tracks, and sand tracks were basically removed from the game for a period of time. And then eventually when the OEM team released like their tyre updates to fix different tracks, I even had an entire video just saying like sand tracks are finally back, because they are some of my most favourite tracks to play in the game, and it was really, really sad having like an entire type of track just completely removed from the game for a while. This game has definitely been through some weird up and down stages throughout its lifespan, and I think a lot of it comes down to, without trying to like dig anyone out or throw too much shade, because they're not meant to be personal attacks, they're just like observations as such. I think there's a level of disconnect between development and community. So I think a lot of the time it tends to be, Lynn's sign again, it tends to be an update is released by Peboso, for example, that fixes something but then breaks something else, which then the community, like OEM team most of the time, I guess now factory bike team as well, depending on what other updates come out in the near future, they then have to kind of pick up the pieces and then release tyre patches or bike updates to make everything feel and handle better. And it's a little bit of a weird situation to be in. And I know, seeing behind the curtain, that when it comes to like game testing, a lot of it, at least from the development behalf, is done on even still the stock bikes. You know, like the bikes that 99.9% of the community use aren't even factored into the equation when these changes happen. So I do think there's a level of disconnect. That's the second lap in a row that I've done that.
This is getting out of hand.
Yeah, definitely a level of disconnect, I think, sometimes between development and community side of things. So I'd like to see that improve in the future. I really, really would. And I'm not sure if he's making himself like known, or if he's just going to be lurking and watching in the background. But there are rumours of the man himself appearing at the LAN event in Italy, being an Italian himself. It'd be nice to see him, nice to meet the mysterious man and just kind of throw some thoughts out there on how the game could be improved, and just see his thought process behind it all as well, because at the end of the day, I think he said multiple times that he likes just making games that he wants to make. He's not really in it for the money side of things, because I think a lot of people in the same situation would go, yeah, you know what, MX Bikes is my top earning game by a long shot. I'm gonna just disregard any other game that I'm making now and just focus solely on this one. But he does still put in what sounds like a lot of time and effort into like GP bikes. I'm not sure if Kart Racing Pro or his car game, I keep wanting to say WRS, but I don't think it's called WRS. I'm pretty sure that's another like actually AAA car racing brand, but he still puts some time into his other games, I believe. But I know we're all quite greedy, you know, we're all loving our motocross and we think this game should be his main focus, but it sounds like it's more of just a hobby for him, more of a side thing. Don't know what the man does for work. just as his day job, nor do I want to inquire. You know, that's his personal life. He's entitled to his own stuff. But it'd just been nice to know his thought process behind the whole game development and what he sees the future of MX bikes being. And I guess, slow updates aside, I think we're very fortunate to have the modding community that we do, whether it's bikes or tracks or even just rider skins, bike skins overall. We do get a lot of content, so I always end up being quite surprised when I see people saying MX bikes is too expensive. I don't know what the price is these days, it's like 30 something dollars. But then you go and compare that to a AAA game, whether it's Legends or MESX games, for example, which are like $60, $70 from new, plus all the paid DLC as well. You kind of wonder where you stand, you know? Like, I think I was researching before, and we've got something like...
I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
We've got something like 300 Supercross tracks alone. Free Supercross tracks, not even paid ones. Which is just nuts. So that's surely worth the $35 even by itself, even if you didn't then have OEM bikes, and you didn't have factory bikes, and you didn't have all the Nationals tracks, or Enduros tracks, or free ride tracks, and I just don't understand how you can complain about that amount of content. It just absolutely baffles me. Now, I'm not sure if MX Bikes is suddenly hitting the YouTube algorithm again recently, or it might even be popping off on TikTok, actually, because I know a lot of MX Bikes TikTok videos do quite well. I've seen a massive influx in both my Discord and the main MX Bikes Discord of people asking others to buy the game for them. Like, more so now than there ever has been. So there must be another audience out there that's just suddenly been hit or targeted for the, I guess, the videos to start doing a lot better. TikToks are really doing well. People are kind of asking into the game, wondering what it is and getting excited about it. So it's good to see. It's good to see that we're still branching out and reaching other audiences. It'd be very interesting to see what happens at this LAN event, to see people that might have no idea about this this little virtual world of ours kind of enjoying the game and seeing how that goes. It kind of ties into / stems to these external companies reaching out and sponsoring people like myself and Reaper and Troy, like where I'm with FXR and G Fuel. Troy's got G Fuel now. Reaper Doc has like an entire PC setup been made for him. I can't, it's going to really upset people, but I cannot remember off the top of my head what the name of the brand is. But he's working now with Computer Guys, so he's got discounts on literally whole PCs. It's really nice to see external brands taking an interest in the little moto world. And obviously I feel like I'm in a massively privileged position. I feel like I kind of got into it at exactly the right time, just when the game started getting popular. I never thought that sitting there doing my 9-to-5 office job, that if you used to say, oh, by the way, in about 2.5 years, if you keep doing these videos, it will be your full-time job, and you'll be sponsored by a very well reputable motocross like brand. You'll also have affiliate codes with G Fuel, which is just nuts, to be honest, that I'm kind of tied in with these massive multi-million-dollar businesses. Like, it's so crazy. Speaking of which, I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about things like this. I got too scared. I edited it out. Which also, actually, I'm about to send this. Hang on, I'm gonna. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's here. I'm about to send it into this section, see if I can finally get the triple in. Yeah, yeet. Oh, he has. Triple again. Oh, I've scrubbed it too much. It's fine. Turn it into a double. Factory suspension on top. Lovely stuff. Not the cleanest. I'm pretty sure you can probably triple, maybe even quad your way through there if you hit it nicely. But again, trying to talk. Looking and talking to the camera at the same time as having these key lights shining in my eyes so I can barely see the monitor, plus shadows on the track, makes things a little bit difficult sometimes. But what I was going to say, for like the 3rd or 4th video in a row, thank you for all the kind words about the face cam, and I think it's here to stay at this point. It's kind of like part of my routine now, is before I sit down to press record, I'll hop in the shower real quick and then make sure that I have some nice fresh clean clothes on to try and look presentable from everybody, rather than just being a slob sitting here like not showering for 2-3 days in a row, just sitting grinding out bikes or FIFA or whatever it may be. It's nice, it gives a little bit more of a structure to my day, so I really do appreciate all the kind words constantly, so thank you everyone very much for that. Come on, 3rd time's the charm. Oh, we might have gone too far this time. Right, let's send this a little bit more, so rather than scrubbing it, triple again, triple again. I think that's probably as clean as I'm going to get that one. Very satisfying when you get it right, and again, part of those split sections that he likes throwing in all over the place. I want to say big thank you to Endo for coming back and blessing us with some more tracks. I hope he's here to stay, at least for a while. I always enjoy his creations. No no pun in the Endo Creations name there. I think it's a very pretty looking track as a whole. I think Mitch and the Saucy By Nature team should be very happy with what he's created for them. And I mean, not just for them, but for us overall. So I hope you guys have found 2 new tracks today that you can hopefully hop on and rip with your friends and really, really enjoy. I am going to, I think, end it there. I think I've done enough enough wobbling and enough casing rhythm sections for one video, but I hope you've enjoyed. As always, if you did, please do drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, I'd really appreciate it. Drop a few comments down below for the algorithm, really helps the brother out and helps the channel grow overall, and have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, most importantly. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.